We're going to start in betting order with Jack Adam, which is trained by Willie Mullins. Certainly one of my fancies, because I think the form would stand up behind horses like Taco de Seal, Cassandra, Double Ross at Cheltenham. This is pretty strong in this context of this race, isn't it, Billy?
It is. When we had our previous show on Hennessy a few weeks back now, he was my selection. I really thought he obviously got a lot of potential. No 5-year-old has ever won the race since its inception. That's a bit of a worry. And if you look at his form, all his sort of wins in very small fields, I think this is a big ask. And much as I sort of was on his side, I think 4-1 is very short. Very short.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I mean, the horse having its fourth start, he's not exposed, and that's what you're looking at for a Hennessy winner. But it's not a great coming back off of a fall last time. I must admit, it wasn't one of those falls you'd think to yourself, "Oh, blimey, you know, he's really."
It was going well. It was outside of the two with the Mullins.
He was going well.
Brigade. The only thing is, it goes against the history, historic-wise, is it'll be the first Irish winner since 1980, first 5-year-old, which is the most important aspect of it. But I felt it jumped really well, and again going back to Leopardstown, beat some good yardsticks. You think it was maybe?
Will he stay? Will he really stay? I mean, this is a big ask as well. 3 miles, 2.5 furlongs. To me, that wasn't certain that he'd stay at this stage of his career. I mean, you know, he blew out at Cheltenham in the JLT. It's just a big ask.
I mean, he's definitely bred for 3 miles. There's no doubt about that. But this isn't 3 miles. This is 3.25 miles on half a furlong, which is soft ground. So you're probably going to need a horse that stays over 3.5 miles here. And for me, when I look at this race, there is a certain criteria I look at, and horses must have won over 3 miles going into this race, and he hasn't done that. The form that you just spoke about at Leopardstown, I just found it difficult to gauge. He was given a lot of weight, in receipt of almost a stone to Bright New Dawn. He went on to win 7 lengths in a Grade 2, went on after that to win in a Grade 3, 7 lengths, and then another Grade 3 by 7 lengths. But I just found it difficult to see why he's 4-1. But having said that, it wouldn't fully surprise you if he went and dotted up.
No, it wouldn't. Absolutely not. No, but
I thought the horse was going well at Cheltenham. I know what you're saying, and there's no inconclusive, but I thought the horse was going well to even 4 out when it came down at Cheltenham, and to me, I think it's pretty strong form. I wouldn't put anyone off. Back in
it's not a handicap, is it? I mean, it's often won by a horse that's not really a handicapper, so class is important. Whether he's got it this year.
Okay,
year.
So you for Jack Adam or not?
No.
Not at the price.
Not at the price.
Have a little bit
okay.
Anti-post, no.
Many Clouds, who normally comes back, wins at Carlisle, which it did for the last 2 times. I'm not convinced Many Clouds is going to take this, and I think this horse is too short. I know that it was in the race won by Fielding's Boy and was brought down, I do believe, or at Cheltenham. You thoughts on Many Clouds?
Yeah, Many Clouds, it's got to be said, it was impressive last time we've seen at Carlisle. That was over 2.5 miles on soft ground, where it's likely to be on Saturday. Beating the likes of the Holywell 15 lengths, and whether you can quite believe Holywell's ran up to some of his better form. I suppose it's better to look at the second horse, Edyard. Finished second, more likely to win his race that day, 11.25 beating him. He was last seen beating Voldex of Alan King's before that. It does look smart form, running off a mark of 151. I've got him personally on my own handicap 160, so I think he's got a few pounds to play with, but I just think he's vulnerable. And another horse that's never won over 3 miles. He fits the bill with the Unexposed, only having his 8th start, of which he's been placed 5 times of them. But for me, no, and certainly at the prices, I think there's better value elsewhere.
I think he's ever backed up a win with another win. I share the stamina concerns. I mean, his wins have been over 2 mile, 4 furlongs. He has got a decent place form at 3 miles, and he's a nice looking horse. But I just didn't feel that his mark's workable, and I thought he has a chance. But I didn't see anything really great value at 7-1. The stamina is a worry.
The jumping would be a worry for me as well.
Half brother to the Tullow Tank, isn't he?
Oh, there you go. Some interesting facts. Smad Place is next in the betting, 7-1. The Grey. What do you think about Smad Place?
Yeah, I absolutely get this. Grade 2 winner's got plenty of class, only having its 5th start as a chaser. Fits particularly what I look for in a winner of this race. Is certainly won over 3 miles, and also got form at Newbury on very heavy ground, beating the likes of Sam Winner in a small race. When they turned up and met each other again, Sam Winner and Smad Place in the RSA, when it was more of a truer run race, Smad Place then went and put 8.25 lengths between himself and that rival off level weight. I think this RSA form is real strong. Obviously, a Phelan's Boy won the race. Unfortunately, he's injured at the moment. But as I say, Sam Winner was in that race, and he was a further 8 1/4 lengths back. He's been out to win a Grade 3 at Cheltenham, and the 6 horse Clallerford Law is gone to win a Grade 1 race at Punchestown since.
I mean Clallerford Loft.
Sorry, Clallerford Loft. What did I say?
I don't know.
100 and
you might be right anyway.
I've got this horse rated 172, running off a mark of 155. So it's definitely well handicapped and promises to stay.
Promises to stay is a good thing because this horse has finished in the World Hurdle, I think, third twice.
Yeah, and he went agonisingly close last year at Cheltenham, didn't he? Behind in the race.
I mean, he travelled, that RSA, he travelled like an absolute dream. He pinged all the fences there. I actually felt sorry for him and how he got beat. But of all the runners we're going to be speaking about, visually, he got me going.
Right.
I think it's on a fair mark. He's had some hard races. Was he 6-year-old? He's had some hard races.
7-year-old.
7-year-old now. But he's got to.
He's been around for ages. I mean,
he does. Yeah, he does. That's it. He's got to. But then his last race at Cheltenham, the RSA, is probably his career best. So he's. I just wondered whether he really wants to sit muddy. You know, I thought much of his form is on good to soft grounds. I wouldn't think he'd want it absolutely bottomless. But
no prep race either.
All I would say to that is that Sam Winner's come out and proved that he does like those sort of conditions by staying last time, and when he met Sam Winner, you know, they had a ding-dong battle and he pulled away on heavy ground, so I don't share those views.
What about no prep race?
For
Smad Place, straight in.
Yeah, I've got no great problem with that. A lot of horses you find that come into a Hennessy, you know, are like that, I think, for one reason or another. Probably trainers trying to protect handicap marks and one thing and the other, but I've got no problem with horses. In a race like this, trainers won't have them off, they'll be ready, all right.
Okay. The next one, Fingal Bay, I remember... For some reason, when I was playing the exchanges, I actually backed this horse at Lay at 1 to 12 at Exeter a couple of years ago. I remember it distinctly. It ran out. Obviously, they've ironed out the problems there, and it's run tremendously well at Cheltenham. So, from your perspective, do we give a chance to Fingal Bay with the trainer in such great form?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a little bit disappointed, and I think the handicap has been a bit cruel on the horse and Philip Hobbs, but of course had a mark of 146 over chases, but now has been reassessed to 153, which is disappointing. Is that 153 going to be well handicapped enough of top weight in the Betemps final handicap? Had run into a mark of 162. That form's worked out for treats. Southfield Theatre was in second, went to an listed race, has been bolting up over chases. The third horse won a Grand National. Trusting Times is in fourth, got some very good form at middle of last season. So my main concern with him is he hadn't had a prep race, but only because he's only had 3 starts over chases, and in a race like this, when he might just get a bit of a culture
He kind of famously didn't take to fencing, did he? He just didn't take to it. So he dropped him back over hurdles, right thing to do. He came out and won the Betemps final at the festival.
Leverstone 12,
well,
I think.
You say he ran. You say he didn't take to it. He did run second to Danas for a 4.5 length beat and give him 4 lengths.
No, he didn't take to it.
How many runners though? How many runners though?
And that was over 2.5 miles.
How many runners?
In his days.
How many runners?
What, that day?
Race? 4?
5.
And 2 of them were no hopers.
Yeah.
So I think you know, the Exeter thing. I think it was after the Exeter. They think, well, let's go and try and win a few races over it, and it has run really well. And the last one is especially. It'll stay.
He'll stay, but the jumping is a big worry, and as Matt alluded to, the handicap mark, he's really got to come out here and really put up a career best. He's not handicapped to win this. He's got to come out again and improve. And given his inexperience and sort of lack of proven chasing prowess, I couldn't have him at 8 to 1.
And there were novice chases, right? So he's straight into handicap chasing. He's not running the handicap chase.
No, he has. I mean, he has run in a handicap hurdle 23 runners.
No, handicap chases.
No, handicap chase. So it's the unexperience that would concern me with him. I suppose you have to respect Philip Hobbs's opinion of, you know, he obviously feels that he didn't need that run. They were due to run at Kempton a couple of weeks ago, but that didn't come about. I'm not quite sure for what reason. But now that handicap mark's moved to 153, and it's just that it's the experience that worries me, you know, in a race like this.
Okay. Rocky Creek, which did you give last year?
No, I gave it on the show when he ran it over in Ireland. I got a bit of ridicule for it, and the JN Wine chase, and he had a good race in second, didn't get anywhere near the winner. My personal feeling is he kind of, if he's coming here fresh, I'd be interested, but he's not a horse that necessarily is going to sort of back up his efforts, and I just worried about that. He's a horse I wouldn't have wanted to have a prep run coming into this. That said, he's obviously really classy, but I think Aintree is probably the aim for him. You know, he jumps those fences well.
Would you say this race is... I think it's a better race than last year. And if that's the case, by Rocky Creek going up £5 in the weights, would mean that Rocky Creek would have to improve quite a bit. And the question mark is whether it has or not.
I think I disagree with that. I think this race is not as good as last year. I can give the likes of Rocky Creek. I see the angle. I can even see the angle later on. We'll be speaking about an outsider of the winner last year. I do think the horse is still well handicapped. I mean, there's no great, Road to Riches second last time with Boston Bob underperforming. For me, the problem with the horse is he had every chance in last Hennessy to win the race. Tackland Darrell made a mistake at the last and opened the door for him to go to win. And for me, he just dodged it in the closing stages. Not at the time, and I followed him in the time after at Cheltenham against the Giant Bolster, and I had a real decent bet that day, and he came there jumping the last, and the same thing. I think he flatters to deceive.
You talk about last year, but you had horses like Highland Lodge, Mary King, Our Father, haven't really done much since. They were in that race. Lord Windermere did go on to win a certain big prize back in 7th, but generally, I mean, what's your thoughts on the race compared to last year and Rocky Creek?
I tend to like this race. I am tending to look at the sort of classy horses at the top of the weights. This year, I kind of feel that it's winnable from something lower down. I do feel that. I don't see anything in the sort of top few that really excite me. So we spoke about the market leaders. Nothing there really gets me excited. So I think it could go to a sort of lighter weighted horse, even though it doesn't tend to.
OK, well, there's one more contender we'll have a look at before we take a break, and that's Neil Mulholland, who was in the news a few weeks ago with not with this particular horse, it was the young master. This is the Druid's Nephew. How do we feel about the Druid's Nephew?
I feel quite good about the Druid's Nephew. He's found a chunk of improvement moved to Neil Mulholland's yard. He looks a real stayer. I suspect he has sort of a big day ahead of him, big day or two ahead of him, and he's a horse definitely to keep on side of. Presumably he's qualified to run in this, and he went down fighting behind Sam Winner at Cheltenham, and I thought I don't know who's going to ride him, but I thought he was definitely a horse with more to offer, and in a handicap you want that, and to me he's definitely on my shortlist.
Yeah,
second to Sam Winner as well.
Second to Sam Winner, that was up in trip to 3 mile. Was it 3 mile, 3.5 half furlong? And that almost looked too short for him. He really did finish the race well that day. I've got a problem with him. When I seen him at,
it sort of jumps to the. I mean, I know he was left-handed, but it sort of does dive towards the left.
He wears those cheek pieces, and I just think he flatters to deceive on occasions as well with him. But he does stay very well. For me, to win a race like this, he's got a rather exposed look. I think having 11 races is too much. I think I'd like to see something really having 6 or 7 runs. The age is about right, but I just think he's a little bit exposed from.
Okay, before we start talking about outsiders, which we will do in the next part, are the ones we've discussed so far? Which is the one that sort of rocks your boat so far?
Of the ones we just spoke about, the Druid's Nephew, definitely.
Right.
Yeah, the Smad Place for me.
Smad